I think that people tend to think of the feminine as something that's just soft and receptive. But when the feminine is truly balanced within herself with the divine masculine, she is a divine force of nature. And we need, White Buffalo Woman speaks about this extensively. All the Key Code mentors do in the Sophia Code, how important it is for the women of this world to really understand that it's safe to be beautiful, it's safe to be powerful, it's safe to be articulate, it's safe to have strong emotional boundaries, it's safe to want what you want, to like what you like, it's safe to call out and advocate for what you know is wrong in this world and what needs to change. It's just like, these are the kind of women that I look up to, because that's who the Ascended Masters were and are. It's like, that's who I aspire to every day. That's why I want to mentor with them. It's because they are the totality of their humanity. Like, the feminine is not just the soft. The feminine has fangs too. Like a lioness, you can learn so much about the true energy of the divine feminine from a lioness. You know, it's like she will just tenderly care for her cubs, but she will also go tooth to tooth with a male lion if he would ever bring harm to her cubs. It's just like, they're the true hunters. So if we're going to cut ourselves off from that kind of power, we're not actually in the true essence of the divine feminine. One of the interesting things, though, is that the wounded feminine tries to control, right?
Yes, tell us about that. Talk about that wounded feminine.
The wounded feminine has control issues, doesn't know that she can be in a clear relationship with her anger or her grief. There's often a sense of like arrogance, a false sense of importance. But if you are truly sitting in your divine feminine Christ power, you are going to be very powerful and very humble at the same time, because you understand that your power is here to serve as many people as possible, and that your service is only effective if you are acutely listening, actively listening to those you are serving, which means, you know, you are really taking in what people need, not what you think they need, right? So that's kind of the difference between the wounded feminine and the divine feminine. The divine feminine is very compassionate, very clear, very sober to her power. She's aware that at any moment she could go off the rails with her power. So she's always in the prayer, you know, may I be a servant of the highest and best good. You know, God, please guide me.
What's her relationship with her emotions?
A woman is always going to feel disempowered, and she's always going to be imbalanced in her emotions if she's not in a complete relationship with the full spectrum of her emotions. So a lot of people in the spiritual world think that they're not supposed to be angry, or they're not supposed to be sad, or they're not supposed to grieve, and that is a lie. I have a lot of other words I might say, but for the sake of this interview, I'll just say that's a lie.
Feel free.
I feel very passionate about that. What I discovered in my journey of healing from 18 years of rape and torture was that it was impossible to heal unless I was in a relationship with my anger, or in a relationship with rage, in a relationship with abject grief, in a relationship with depression. Like, I had to learn how to be in relationship with those feelings. Otherwise, if I kept trying to push them away and deny them, they would have power over me. Nothing can have power over you if you're in relationship with it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. How about your relationship with the masculine that is wounded, the wounded masculine, before getting into the sacred masculine? What does it look like?
Well, the wounded masculine tends to gaslight. It tends to overreach. It tends to think that it needs to control the feminine to feel safe, because it's always afraid of the wounded feminine. But the masculine in its wholeness knows that it's there to be an anchor point and a place of solidarity with the feminine that allows the feminine to naturally come back into alignment, because the masculine is not going to move based on the mood swings of the feminine, if that makes sense. So there's this wonderful balance both within us, right, with the masculine and feminine within us, as well as externalized where, I think people think of the masculine as somehow out of touch, but I think what's interesting about the masculine is very observant. Masculine notices a lot of details, and the masculine feels quite a lot. And when almost a level of tenderness that I think the masculine tends to be very protective of that heart space that it holds, because it knows just how dangerous a wounded feminine is. A wounded feminine is radically dangerous. A whole feminine is radically empowering. We are all walking around as very wounded people, as humanity as a species in general. So the reason why the Sophia Code came as a divine feminine sacred text is we've got to heal our relationship with the divine feminine to actually even be able to have a conversation about the divine masculine, because we, after hundreds of years of patriarchal conditioning, so few people have even a concept of what true, authentic, divine masculine wholeness actually looks like.